In the autumn shadows of the 19th century, when America was still young and raw, there was a family whose name drifted only in whispers, never written, never sung, for their blood carried a weight darker than the soil they walked upon. They were known not by the pride of their ancestry, but by the fear that followed them from town to town, a line of kin so bound together that the world outside their walls seemed no more than a passing illusion. Their house stood on the edges of a forgotten valley, built of timber that creaked in the night, with windows that watched but never welcomed. The patriarch Elias was a man of broad frame and hollow eyes, a presence that commanded silence wherever he went. His wife, Miriam, was frail and pale, her voice soft as though afraid to disturb the ghosts that lingered in their home. Together they bore children, though no one knew how many, for the valley was filled with laughter one season and cries the next, with faces that seemed too familiar, too repeated, as though the generations were folding in upon themselves. Those who caught glimpses of the children whispered that their smiles were stretched too wide, their eyes too bright, their gestures too rehearsed, as if they were mimicking life rather than living it. No preacher ever set foot in their house, and no neighbor dared ask why the family tree never branched beyond their land. The records faded, births unmarked, marriages unseen, deaths buried in shallow graves that the rain would uncover before the earth swallowed them whole. The bloodline continued, hidden from the laws of men, growing like vines in the dark, tangled and suffocating. In those years, the valley was plagued by strange vanishings, wanderers, farmhands, even children from nearby settlements. Some said they saw Elias walking in the woods, his lantern flickering like a soul in torment, and beside him a line of silent figures that did not speak nor turn their heads. By the time the century turned, the house had grown into a labyrinth, with rooms added upon rooms, staircases that led nowhere, and halls that echoed with footsteps long after the family had gone to rest. Travelers who came too close told of music drifting on the night air, but not the kind played by instruments, rather a chorus of humming, low and uneven, like prayers spoken in a forgotten tongue. A schoolteacher once claimed she saw a gathering through the window, children standing in a perfect circle, holding hands, eyes closed, swaying to a rhythm that had no melody. When she told the town, they laughed nervously, yet no one dared approach again. The bloodline persisted year after year, faces repeating themselves across generations, as though the family was painting the same portrait over and over. It was said that those who married into the clan did not last long, fading from sight within weeks, their names erased, their belongings scattered, as if they had been absorbed into something larger, something older. By the 1920s, the world beyond the valley had changed, but inside the house time was still. Elias had long vanished, though some swore they saw his shadow pacing behind the curtains. Miriam's portrait still hung in the dining room, her pale face staring out as though guarding secrets no one would dare disturb. The children of children carried on, their features so eerily similar that strangers could not tell them apart. They never worked in the towns, never sought schooling, never mingled with outsiders. The valley became a boundary line of silence, where maps were drawn with empty space and travelers were warned to take the longer road. Hunters who passed too near sometimes returned with tales of being watched, of hearing soft voices calling their names in the dusk, though no figure could be found when they turned. Then came the fire. One summer's night in 1932, flames rose from the house, swallowing the labyrinth of wood and shadow in a roaring blaze that lit the valley like day. The townspeople gathered at the ridge, watching as the structure collapsed in on itself, the heat fierce even from a distance. Yet not a single scream was heard, not a figure fled, as though the family had chosen to burn within their own creation. By dawn, all that remained was ash, charred beams, and the scent of something acrid carried on the wind. But the tale did not end with the fire. For years after, wanderers swore they saw figures in the valley at dusk, pale faces glinting between the trees, children standing hand in hand as though waiting for a song to begin. The graves that the rain had once unearthed were lost, but the whispers grew louder, telling of a bloodline that had not died, merely hidden itself deeper, retreating beneath the earth where no flame could reach. Farmers claimed their animals grew restless near the valley's edge, their eyes wide and their movements frantic, as though sensing something unseen. And so the story lived on, never written in any book, but spoken in taverns, murmured in prayer, passed from one trembling voice to another. They called it the Forgotten Bloodline, a family bound not by love nor by law, but by something older, something twisted, something that refused to let go. Even now, the valley lies empty, yet few dare cross it after nightfall, for the silence there is not the silence of peace, but of waiting. Those who stand too long claim to hear it still, the faint hum of voices rising together in the dark, carrying the memory of a family that time itself tried to erase, but could not. Thus the bloodline lingers, not in flesh perhaps, but in shadow, in the echoes of the past that slip through cracks in the present. And though the house is gone, the valley remembers, the earth remembers, and those who wander too close find themselves remembered as well, added quietly to a story that never truly ended, a story that even fire could not destroy.